Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the What Now podcast. Trap
What it
horns,
do?
trap horns. What's up? What's up?
Just chilling post Thanksgiving, man. All filled and fueled up.
That's right. A little thicker, a little.
Hey, we lost 3 pounds, man. We
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that we on the EO3 shred program, so we
nice,
came out of it net loss, which is always feels good.
nice. Shout out Jared. Shout out our guy Jared Moon. We were just talking about off before we started recording. If you guys are looking to up your business mindset and your fitness strategy, and really just if you want to just upgrade your whole life and just dive into Jared's stuff, it's been really good. We're
Yeah,
both
definitely
pretty
would
heavily involved.
yeah, I would definitely recommend. Even like the free stuff that he gives out through his podcast. I think one, it's
Yeah,
tangible. Like it's 6-7 minutes. You can hit it in the sauna or on a walk whenever. But it's for the quality of stuff he's putting out. It's pretty dang good.
yeah. I mean, his podcast is probably the best thing that he has, honestly, and it's free. So
Yeah,
listen
yeah,
to it. Check out Jared Moon at the Better Human Business podcast for all your business stuff, and then uh, over at Garage Gym Athlete for all of your fitness stuff. It's pretty good.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
So, all right, Zach, what's up? Tell the people what we're about to talk about today.
Yeah, man. So I think kind of that was a good little prelude that I did by accident. But this time of year, you hear from your coach, from your mentors, from other business owners. This is the time of year where business slows down. People are starting to get in the holiday mood, whether it's Thanksgiving, they're traveling, or now they're starting to really take a look at their finances. Hey, it's getting to the end of the year. We got taxes coming up, start of the next year, and we got gifts. And so you can start to hear from other people like this is the time when things really slow down, and not from like a toxic standpoint, but what Spencer and I really want to talk about today was how to create separation even during a time where everyone else is telling you it's slowing down, and really how to best set yourself up for success. I know we talked about on last week's episode, we talked about how we're preparing or what we plan to get better at come 2024, but what are the things that right now you and your team are doing over at Empower Chiropractic to really set yourself up to continue and finish out strong, but also things that you need to do now to really best prepare for 2024?
Yeah, in terms of like the day-to-day stuff, we're doing the exact same thing. Nothing changes. We still are delivering high quality service. We're still just as invested as everybody else, except now we have a Christmas tree in the office. Um, and really, what our focus is actually to finish out strong, we're starting our community events, like our mom meetups.
Nice.
We're just hosting like mom support groups for people in our practice and in the community to come out and learn how to best take care of their family from a holistic perspective. Do it naturally with chiropractic as like the centerpiece for that. And it's really good that I'm not the one leading that, which is really cool. That's actually delegated off to our office mom, Emily. Shout out Emily. She's great.
Nice.
So yeah, that's like really her passion project, which is awesome. It's why she's a good fit for our culture and for our team. She's invaluable. Then what I'm doing to finish the year out strong really is to like really collect more resources for education to be able to give out to more people. It's a season of giving, so we're looking to give out as much stuff as we can for people. And really just be the place where people can trust us and come to us because what really what we don't think about a lot of times for us is that like what are holidays like when our kids are sick, right? Well, how does that affect the holidays, right? How does it affect holidays when dad's back hurts or
Yeah.
mom's migraines are there, all those kind of things? And so how can we really be the place of restoration and hope for people during their holiday season is what we're really trying to get out to. And really just trying to be grateful for the people who are here over the year. And then also, I think a big thing too is like when people do, it's going to happen, like people are going to drop off of care like around the holiday season, just being grateful for that. And then also setting up reach out strategies again whenever the year comes to reactivate their accounts. So when people do drop off in your practice, whenever they like take a pause or something like that, don't take it personally. Just know that like they're real people just like you. You can't pay for everything, and neither can other people, right? Some people are traveling or all those kind of things. So that's what we're really focusing on. But my big project, speaking of Jared Moon, is working through the new patch system with HubSpot, building out our relationships CRM. Basically, we're digitizing all of our procedures through this channel called HubSpot. It's similar to Go High Level or something like that. But what we're doing is we're going to start a bunch of campaigns, and we're really going to increase our communication for the next year. And so in my CEO time, not adjusting people, I'm really focused on that. I'm really focused on building that up, writing out all of our details, building out all of our systems, so we can finish the year out strong by leveraging our extra time that we do have into something that's going to fill our time and automate a lot of our procedures in 2024.
Those are all really good things. I like all three. Dive into a little bit, because I know, me hearing it about the mom meetups, I know past Zach would probably think, oh, well, it's December. And I've even thought about this. One thing we're going to implement is new patient orientations, which is like a 30-minute talk. And for about the whole month of November, I'm like, well, we'll start that in January. I'm like, why would I wait? What's going to happen in January? Why not just start doing them in December? And so talk about like doing the mom meetups and the power of just doing it versus trying to wait and make it perfect and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you wait until after December, then everybody's going to be like, oh, well, the new year. And so like, let me kind of get things settled after the holidays and everything like that. And so really like, and then it'll be February whenever you do it. Right. So, I mean, you're going to have a really slow start in January versus just doing it now. Right. And then a lot of the things is a lot of the kids are sick right now because I mean, it's sick season. That's what it is. It's sugar season. Really. It's all these kids eating sugar and everything like that. And people are staying inside more, they're less active, they're eating worse, and all those things. And so kids are prone to being sick. And right now it's like holiday season and everybody's having holiday parties, and so everybody's used to putting extra things on their calendar and schedule. And so what we try to do is we try to kind of be in that realm, but also be courteous, like, so we're not doing things at night or anything like that. It's from 9 to 12. It's we have like free food and everything like that. And it's just come out, pop in and hang out for a little bit. And the biggest thing is we've been like pre-framing it quite a bit. We've been talking about this for months. And so we've been gauging interest for months and months and months. And then now that we have a date and set out and everything like that, we're really being direct. And we have a list of people who we anticipate to show up. And so this week we'll be sending them a text message saying like, hey, don't forget about our event. Nice. And the communication gap between that and like not necessarily the lack of response, but the lack of timely responsiveness and like, oh yeah, like I missed your email and like I saw that, but I didn't RSVP yet or anything like that, is why we're implementing the HubSpot stuff to where we can send like direct like mass text like RSVPs, and we can drip these specific events to specific people. To where we can really like niche down and like target our audience in the way that we want to, right? And so if you have a kid that struggles with ear infections, you're gonna be getting the ear infections newsletter. Like if you are a pregnant mom, you're gonna be getting our pregnancy guide and all of those things. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking a lot of so that's kind of why we're starting in December.
And I think that's quite a bit to unpack there too. But one thing, a quote that I've seen a couple times and I've really resonated with, and I think it applies a lot to what we're talking about, is if you go in with the intention that you'll start doing something when you're less busy, that means as soon as you get busy, you're not going to have time for whatever you're starting, right? And a lot of that's been around like resolutions and I'll wait till January when things slow down. But I think in our business, especially from a chiropractic side, at least from the people I talk to, and I'm sure Spencer and a lot of our listeners they talk to, is like January is one of the biggest months. January and February, right? Everyone's getting back into their routine and those type of things. And so waiting until January when it's supposed to be, full bore, like we're getting after it, you're probably going to be a little bit more drained. And so your willingness to go and actually do the mommy meetup, or for us, do the new patient orientation, work on HubSpot, work on Go High Level, if it's for us, probably isn't going to happen. And if it does happen, it's going to happen at a way less of a level than it would have had we gotten the ball rolling. And now we can fine tune and tweak the little things, right? that we learn from when we start come December versus crap, now we're in January and it's May by the time we've actually tweaked and fine-tuned something that should be running very efficiently. And so similar to Spencer, like you're talking about with HubSpot, we're doing the same thing with our Go High Level, where we're trying to craft basically the patient experience from a automation side of things. And so as they're going through, whether they become a new lead or they book their day one appointment, or even if they've been a current active patient, as we call them, so on an active care plan, they're not on wellness, they're getting a text or email every 7-10 days, and then from there moving them into long-term nurture or into wellness. And so really having a way to combat and stay front of line for a lot of our patients.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do as well. And as you were saying that, whenever we talk about all these things, when you own your own practice, and especially as your practice gets busier, get busier, when you see a higher volume of visits, right? Your hands are going to be more preoccupied and your attention is going to be more preoccupied, and you're going to have more of those things to do. And so you're going to have less CEO time. When you are in startup mode and you have nobody coming in and you have a lot of CEO time, what a lot of people do is they just like, and they just kind of like sit around and they don't work on things like that, and they don't brainstorm, or you don't consume content, or you're not learning. And so whenever you're starting up, the reason that like your practice is kind of halting could be because when you were not busy, what you're doing is you're just going home or going to eat lunch or going whatever, filling your time with like your ideal patient care time with other things. And so what's happening is you're just not, when you do get busy and that time fills up, you don't know where to put your CEO time. You don't have it blocked out. For me, like Tuesday mornings have always been CEO time. Like we've always opened in the afternoon on Tuesdays because I always do a lot of my back end work Tuesday mornings, like record this podcast and answer emails and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that don't have to do with adjusting people or doing exams or doing reports or anything like that. When I'm not like working as Dr. Spencer, I'm working as entrepreneur Spencer. And so especially like slow is a relative term, right? So if it's December and you're saying like, oh, we're slowing down, it's your work is not slowing down, your business is not slowing down, you are choosing to slow down, right? So slow is like the frame of mind, and resting and being like, resting and not working are two different things. Right. So if you're saying like, oh yeah, I'm going to slow down in December, that means that you're just going to take more time for yourself, which it could be scheduled rest, right? Like this week I'm going to Florida to go see Matt. That's scheduled rest for me. When ask me the last time I scheduled a day for myself.
Not too many.
Never. Not this year have I taken a day for myself. So this Friday, December 1st, is going to be my first day that I've taken for myself in the whole year. Really year and 3 months in practice. So I deserve it. I mean, obviously we're off holidays and stuff, but so I really think that like this part of the year, this opportunity is a really, really awesome time for you to sit down and knock out a lot of the little things or really upgrade some things. Yeah. It gives you a lot of time to think and work and chew on some stuff and reflect back on the last year. This is a big thing. This is a common theme that like I've talked to with everywhere, whether, whoever I'm coaching with or whoever I'm learning, it's all about reflection on the year, because it's just like running, right? Like whenever you run, you're just like, oh man, I'm like inching forward and it feels like forever. But then like you look down and 10 minutes gone by and you've gone, I don't know, not 2 miles for me, but farther than you have anticipated, right? And so it's the same thing. You have to sit down and reflect on your business, and you have to reflect and be like, wow, like I've really accomplished something.
Yeah.
I think where a lot of people get that mixed up is they sit back and they look and they're like, wow, look at all this I've accomplished. And then they get to the point and they're like, I'm done. Right. So it's look at what I've accomplished. I'm very grateful for it in this season. And so what can I look forward to next? If I could have done this in 1 year, what can I do with the momentum of a full year behind me? Right. Whenever you first start, you're like literally lift leg, like you're doing all the leg work to like lift this thing off the ground. But as you've built over a year, you're like, okay, what have I done? Whether that's I went from 0 to 20 a week, or 0 to 30 a week, or 0 to 200 a week. You say, okay, well, if I've done that in a year, where can I get to next year? Right.
Yep.
So it's setting your goals out farther. And then you have to reflect back, like we talk about, like, dude, whenever we first started and we projected our 2023, we were like really small.
Yeah. 75 a week,
Yeah.
setting the bar low. And now, we both have much larger goals and aspirations. And I think that's come from us learning what we're capable of and then realizing, wow, like I know for me, kind of in my reflection, I'm like, dang, like it took me 6-7 months to really learn that lesson. But now that we've applied it and now that we've actually started to do that, or hey, I should have been doing this more consistently, like small things that, I just let fall off the wayside. And it's like, dang, if I can keep that consistency, or if I can, 10x this new skill or this new approach or this new system, who knows, the goals, Spencer and I may sit down this time next year and be thinking, wow, like why did I set the bar so low? I know when I told my coach my goal, he was like, well, that's kind of a small number for you, and we're gonna work our way into it, and you're gonna see like you're kind of setting the bar low. And to me, that goal is a really large aspiration to do in our second year. But
what is it?
$500,000.
Nice.
$500,000 in year two. And for me, that feels like a big jump. And I know when I present that to our team, they may feel like it's even bigger than I think it is. But I think one, coming in with a plan, and then two, kind of working our way into it and taking it day by day, because that's all we really can do. But utilizing the skills and the lessons and the systems that we've learned and implemented this year that have gotten us to a point where we feel that that's tangible. And I think that's going to be really valuable. And something that's fun for me to think on is like, okay, this is what I learned in year one, and now I get to apply this in year two. What am I going to learn from year one and year two that I can apply to year three, and kind of have that compounding interest, if you will, from a wisdom and knowledge standpoint, to now where year three we're 10xing, 100xing, what we were doing in year one and year two. And it's fun to think about. We're still so young and so kind of learning so much that we really, don't have much figured out, other than that, we can deliver the results that we talk about. And now it's like, okay, we got that part done. We know what we can do. And now it's like, how can we get the right people in the right seats? How can we implement the right systems, and those type of things to really make it where, I heard Tim Young on Making Moves say it really well, but like, how can we decrease the net suffering of our community, and utilizing our systems to really amplify that. So
yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, we're like planning, like everybody's in planning mode, right? And so you have to say, okay, in this next year, what I want to do. If you do that in January, now you're behind the ball, right? Like the year is burning away as you like every single day you can make massive steps. Like you really can. Like you can literally change one thing in one day and like completely flip your practice on its head. And yeah, like so for us, like our goal is to be at the $1 million pace by the end of the year, like the 86K collections mark per month. And then in the third year, collect our full $1 million.
yeah.
So like whatever that looks like, I'm not necessarily going to be like tracking like how much, like what's our total collections, but it's going to be more about like monthly pace for us is what I'm really looking for, because from monthly pace like comes consistency. Right, and that's what I'm really looking for, instead of like getting out to
that consistency is a big thing. I know, I don't know for you, but I know for our practice, we've kind of been on a roller coaster where one thing I talk to Matt a lot about, and one thing Ryan Ryder is really good about talking is having consistent marketing and revenue streams where, hey, I'm going into this month and we're going to hit this baseline, and this baseline is much higher than what we actually need. Whether that be from a new patient perspective or from a wellness perspective, or supplements or whatever you might be doing, right? Massage, right? Those type of things, but where your minimum, your floor, and then okay, this is what we can do to throttle this up or keep it at the right level, or maybe throttle it down because you're getting married, you have a wedding, or those type of things.
Yeah, we're both getting married about the same time. What
Mhm.
what are you guys doing for that? Like, I know we'll be closed like a week and a half, and that's like terrifying for me.
Yeah, we will be closed a week and a half too, and it's pretty scary. So we get married. It's not scary. I'm trying to go into it really excited. And what I've told my team is I want you all to have really high expectations of me as a leader and as the visionary for this practice from January to April. But I've never been married before. I don't know what it looks like to go into the month with a wedding. So I may not necessarily my worst self, but I don't know, if my vision and my focus will 100% be in the practice. Now that's going to be my goal and my intention, but I also realistically know that I'm going to be dragged in different directions. And so for us, we're getting married on a Friday in Austin, which is not close to Colleyville. It's a 4-hour drive. So right now, my goal is to work up until Wednesday morning and then drive down Wednesday evening. That way, I'm there all day Thursday for the rehearsal, and then we fly to Mexico for our honeymoon on Sunday, and we're there Sunday to Saturday. And so, yeah, we'll be closed a week and a half.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing. We get married on a Thursday. And then I was like, I plan on working Wednesday, but I was like, dude, I'm not be working that Wednesday.
If it was up to me, and I'm sure if it was up to you, I mean, I joke with Morgan. I tell her all the time, I'm like, I would love to work
Dang.
until Thursday morning and then head over to down to Austin. I think I can make it there for the rehearsal. She's like, you cannot do that. I was like, yeah, it's fair. Plus, I mean, we got family coming in, friends coming in, and I don't want it to be like I want to be as present and enjoyed as much as like all of it, really. And so that part is scary, right? Like kind of looking at 2024 as this whole new lesson that we're both getting married, and there's going to come a lot with that. But really, one, doing the things right now that we need to do, and two, really pushing for those first 4 months, not from like a greed or that we need to really push these 4 months, but because one, it's the start of the year, and we have some big things planned, but also, kind of being smart, same way you would financially or however, like, you got a big thing coming up, you gotta save. Same thing for us, right? Like we're gonna really push, that way when the throttle does get turned down, we have that ability to do so.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest things right now is like I want to be grateful for where we came this year, but also be like super excited for like what comes
Mm-hmm.
next. And I mean, really, like the practice has been. I tell myself this all the time. Whenever I first started, I said, like whenever I saw no visits my first day open, and then we like 3 visits the entire first week, I was like, this is going to be the smallest that the practice will ever be. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
will only continue to grow. And it's kind of crazy to think of like, man, we only finished our first year. Like this is the smallest the practice will ever be.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll only continue to grow and continuing to have like the startup mindset, the like, this is my first day out mindset of that. Because I think whenever you get complacent and you feel like you've reached the end, like the end
Yeah.
goal, that's whenever you stop moving forward,
Yep.
is whenever you start like looking back and being like, oh man, look at all these things, right? So it's like having gratitude for that, but understanding like, man, the race is like so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that like I'm really kind of going back and forth with is like, I don't want to necessarily be like, oh yeah, like we've made it, we've done the thing.
Yeah.
Because really, like if you look at it and you compare it to somebody like Tim Young or Denisa or really anybody, dude, like you haven't done anything. Like you're just scraping
Yeah.
you're like just getting
When
to the tip of the
I think
iceberg.
really there's two things there. I mean, one that goes to show the importance of being around the right people, right?
Yep.
So if we're, and you and I hang around each other quite a bit, but if we're hanging around each other all the time and never reaching out to other mentors that are doing bigger and more consistent things than us, then you and I would get stuck where we're at. And so it's definitely a resounding, a repetitive thing that I think you and I talk a lot about, but really having the right people in your circle, and getting out there and just from like a, man, what is it called? Uh, man, I thought I had a funny joke, but I don't. But
Oh,
basically, like being around these people, their mindsets and kind of their thought processes around things, um, you kind of absorb it. And I know that's something that's really helped us over the last 2 months working with Matt, and Ryan Ryder is like, wow, when we're around them, like you really get to see the power in that. And I think that's definitely something. If you didn't do it this year, especially as a young business owner, I would definitely look into hiring a coach, but not just any coach. I think Spencer talks about this really well, but finding the coach that you look at their life and you're like, I like what they're doing. I want my life to look like theirs. And going with that coach, not necessarily the coach that's like, I'll get your practice to $1 million in 3 months. Like, okay, that's great. But really sitting down and talking with someone. And if that's what you want, go for it. But they may teach you some things that you look back in a couple of years and like, why was I doing that? What was their heart set there?
yeah, I think that the real big thing that you mentioned that goes overlooked is like when you hear these things like add X amount of patients to your office, get your practice to X milestone, get your practice to this, like your coaching
Mm-hmm.
relationship, when you find the right coach, like it should be like I don't plan on stopping coaching with Matt until I don't know, until I'm
Yeah,
done.
I was just thinking about it the other day, and I was like, I don't I don't foresee there.
Yeah.
And it was something I was going to ask him. I was like, when is this over? And I'm like, I don't know if I would necessarily ever want that.
Yeah, like I yeah, like the whole really, like I was talking to Simon, and like Simon lives in Australia, and so it's like way different time zone. And like sometimes like we just talk about things and stuff, but it's just like the encouragement that you get, and then like for them to be able to call you out on the things that you're like, yes, I
Mhm.
struggle with this, and be like, okay, this is why you struggle with that. And
Yep.
like to be able to see it from a 30,000-foot view is awesome. And so I need that like continuously. I will forever need that. And so there's no time when I won't. And so one of the best investments is like, okay, where can I find other people doing things better than me that I can hop on their train? That's what I'm
Yep.
really trying to find. That's why I'm doing the patch thing, is because people have been doing it for a long time. It's been proven to work. Like I'm not trying to invent it. Same thing whenever
Right.
you do whatever program you're doing.
Yeah. I think that's been one of the harder lessons this year. I think I came in with a naivety that I was going to create this whole new thing and do chiropractic better than
Everyone
everyone
else.
else had ever done it. And I think it's there's still some of that I'm like, yeah, we do this a little bit different. But there are so many systems that I was just overlooking, and it wasn't until I brought in someone like a Ryan Ryder or Matt Morris to really sit down and like show me what those right systems look like. Because for a lot of it, I just wasn't even aware of, and then it was a whole nother thing to implement. And that's a big goal, to finish out this year, but also going into 2020, 2024, is to be much better implementation. Something I look at Spencer, and I look up to you in that aspect. I feel like you're a very good implementer, where I'm a very good, I take in a lot of information, uh, and sometimes I can overload myself and just get caught in like I don't know what to do. And I get stuck in this bubble. So that's a big goal, is to slow it down from this like knowledge consumption standpoint, um, and really implement a lot of things I've already learned that I just haven't given myself time to.
Yeah, that's a big focus for us. Is I think my word of the year is going to be presence, right? We want to
Mm.
build community presence. We want to build better in practice presence. I want to be more present in my own life, and I want to be present with the things that I'm taking in, right? Like, yeah, there's so much information overload, and like I've listened to so many Hormozy podcasts, but I can only tell you like maybe a couple things, probably because I wasn't smart enough at that point to take them in.
Yeah.
But now like I'm really just being present, like, and really just diving into like one train of thought. Let me get really good at this one thing until I feel like I've like squeezed all the juice out of it. And then once I feel like that is there and it's like a seamless integration in my life, then I'll start to add stuff on. And
Mm-hmm.
I get like really overwhelmed. Like I say yes, like to everything. Like, oh yeah, let me do
Yeah.
this, let me do that, let me do this, let me do that. And so it's good to have coaches call, like, understand that in you and say like, hey, like, okay, well, if you're gonna say yes, I need you to say yes to promising me to say no to everything else.
Yeah.
And so I have all these people being like, hey, doc, you should blah, 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 blah. I also hate when people like say, hey, doc. Like, that's the worst. I hate when people call me that.
It's yeah, it's something I just kind of
Well, they
mute or
at the joint, they call you doc because they don't know your name.
that's fair.
Not the patients, but like the supervisors. And so
Yeah.
it low key feels anyway. Getting like really good like at like this one thing, right? So like I'm really, really, really focused on our communication efforts, right? Because that's really what marketing is just communication. And I didn't realize that, like everybody says like, oh, marketing. I don't want to necessarily do a massive amount of paid marketing just because like I don't want to have to feel like I'm like anyway, that's a whole me thing. But really just increasing our communication. And the way that we communicate is by giving people information and resources for them to do that. And that inherently is marketing, right? Like doing Jared's like 70-20-10 rule, like awareness and then offer like awareness and then like contribution, 20% contribution, and then 10% offer is really what we're going to focus on. So that's why I'm super excited to run this system, because I feel like it's very congruent with the things that I want.
And I think too, you mentioned Hormozy. You mentioned Hormozy, and like consuming his content. I kind of stopped. Similar how I like kind of, at least for me, like I start consuming one person's content like for a long time. So like I was listening to Hormozy like nonstop. It was the only podcast I would listen to.
Yeah, and then Andy Frisella.
Yeah, Andy Frisella. I've caught myself starting to do that a little bit with Dave Ramsey, with his entree leadership stuff. But I went back and I was like, let me go back and listen to Hormozy. Like some of the things that I listened to, like probably this time last year, that I was like, oh, this is good stuff. And then I just didn't know what he's talking about. But one thing that really popped into my head, he was talking about, I think it's the Taskmaster system or something like that he talks about. And something that really stood out to me moving that I'd like to get to a point where is myself getting really good at a task. So like getting really good at, okay, this is what the visual of Go High Level looks like, right? And then being able to teach that to Josh or Victoria, someone on our team, to a level, and for them to gain that understanding where now they can teach whoever comes after them. That way it gets me fully off of it, right? So when someone new comes in, Victoria or Josh can just be like, this is how it goes, and train them, versus me now having to train that person. I can focus more on the vision, or focus more on bringing in an associate and training an associate rather than trying to train a CA. Because now we're training our CAs. It's something we've implemented over the last several weeks. We do a weekly CA training every Thursday. It's a non-negotiable. Thanks to Ryan Ryder, they have CA training calls, and so it's on them to listen to it. And then they actually teach me what they learned from it and how we can apply it. Rather than, hey, I want you to listen to this as like, I've already listened to it and this is what I expect you to get out of it. I want them to go into it with an open ear, because they're doing CA stuff every day, right? I'm not doing CA stuff. And that's something I learned from Howard Behar in his book. It's not about the coffee, where he's talking about Starbucks, where they stopped trying to teach the baristas how to do all the barista stuff from their CEO, floor 50th floor CEO suites, because they're not doing barista stuff every day. That's why they give a lot of the credit to Starbucks and a lot of the drinks that they've created, that they're well known for, like the Frappuccino or the pink drink, all those things that came from baristas messing around, making mistakes, those type of things. And now it's what they're known for.
Nice.
Yeah. 2024 is going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a movie, bro. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Dude, 2023 was a movie, bro. It's like this. It was wild, man. Like it's so yeah, I think that's like why I'm in a very like observation mode right now. Like I'm very much like not on pause, but like just in a spot where I'm like trying to like look at everything and like really digest. Like I haven't had like any time for like introspection, because all I've done is just like shove more information into my brain.
Yep.
And that's why I'm not going to Ryan Ryder's thing this weekend. I even bought a ticket, but I sold it. Because like I really wanted to go to that, and I really value a lot of his content. I read all of his stuff. It's amazing. But I just need, like, I'm taking this weekend to travel to go and see Matt. So I can like, really, I'm most excited. The whole thing I'm most excited for is the time in the airport by myself.
Yeah.
To like get away and like have some solitude and like really like to go somewhere and come back and reflect on like that journey. It's kind of like symbolic of like, okay, we like started here, we've come all the way here, and like how to like to reflect on that, you know. So I'm super excited for that, and then be able to talk to Matt and like really hear like some insight into like what he's seen in me, like just in the past like couple months with us coaching and stuff. So
yeah, no, that's huge. And it's funny you mentioned that airport thing. Kind of my last thought is this was my first Thanksgiving here in Texas, and so I didn't travel ever since I left for college. Like the Wednesday and Sunday before and after Thanksgiving were some of the most stressful times because it was get to the airport or drive or both, and there was like no rest. But I did notice, because after you mentioned it, like thinking back, I was like, oh, I didn't have that time in the airport. Especially when like my parents would take me to the airport. It's like, well, you got to be there 3 hours before. And I'm like, I don't think I need to, but then I'd be there for 2-3 hours with a cup of coffee, and kind of just looking out the window, and you get that time to reflect. But I don't necessarily know if I tried to still plan that in over Thanksgiving, but yeah, that was pretty funny to think about.
nice. Well, guys, if you took something out of this, let us know. Thanks for everybody that continues to reach out to us and just ask for advice and support. And we love to do that for you guys. Give our show a share to people. Go check out the Steph Wigner episode if you haven't. She is a baller. She also has really awesome content. So if you really like, it's just awesome. It's just good stuff. So if you're not following her, you definitely should be following her. I feel like as we continue to grow, we in the higher circles, we are starting to grow into higher circles. Like I talked to one of the guys, Justin, he lives down the hall from me and he's still in school. He's in Tri-4. And so he asked me, he's like, oh, bro, tell me about what you think about these people that like teach seminars like and stuff like into the school. And I'm like, bro, like I don't think about those people. I'm completely unaware of those people. And I was like, have you heard about these people? And they're like, no. And it's like, well, there's levels to there's levels to things. And that's what I've slowly begun to learn, is that like it's cool to be able to say like, oh, okay, like I'm really in the levels, like we're really climbing up these levels of like these people who do like big stuff, like big deal stuff. So
I'm excited for the guests we're going to be bringing on in 2024, and who knows, maybe at the end of this year.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I will try to. We have a good solid list of people who we can bring to you guys. So
for sure,
I'm excited to do that. I'm hoping to get some more consistency in with our podcast too.
Yeah. Things got a little buku, a little crazy. Wow. Yeah. But we're back. Maybe we'll go video now that I have a nice camera. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, maybe so. We should. Yeah. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Cool. Well, all right, thanks for listening. Be sure to share. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. You can find us both on social media. I think our handles are pretty easy. So thanks for watching this episode or listening to this episode of the What Now podcast.
Peace.